All right, beautiful people. So today, I know that last week we talked. Anybody remember what we talked about at all? A little bit. What you got, Brianna? Say again. We talked about fears. Yeah, we did. We started off talking about fears.
The roadblock.
Roadblocks. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We're talking about something called intersectionality, right?
Yeah.
And how like different roads that we're all on, depending on the identities that we live within, sometimes they have roadblocks, right? Sometimes they build on top of each other, makes life a little bit harder. What are some of the roadblocks that you guys remembered identifying last time?
I remember mine.
Yeah.
One of my roadblocks was being gay.
Right. Okay. So was that the roadblock itself, or were there roadblocks based on
Based
that
on
identity?
it.
Okay. Okay. Got you. What was the roadblock that you remember?
Coming out
Mhm.
to my parents and friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm on the side.
Yeah. Understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, I mean, I understand. That was very difficult for me as well, right? Because the norm was that
Yeah.
we were not, right? Understandable. Okay, thank you for sharing. Did you have your hand up? Kinda, sorta?
Self-advocacy,
Self-advocacy. Yeah, what did we talk about with self-advocacy?
like how to self-advocacy for something or when not to self-advocacy.
Okay.
Like, is it important? Like, is something like really important, or do you just let it go?
Okay, okay. So when did we identify that something was really important?
Well, everything's important,
Okay.
but like I've with self-advocacy through the semester, I've learned to okay, is it something you really need to self-advocacy, or do you just let it go?
Interesting. All right, all right.
Like, is it a big problem?
Gotcha. We'll talk a little bit more about that today. So thank you for bringing that up as well. Okay. All right. Anybody else? What we talked about last week?
Is self-advocacy.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we talked about self-advocacy, absolutely. So standing up for ourselves, right? Based on our stories, and then when we recognize our stories, sometimes it's a lot easier to use that story to talk about the things that we deserve, things that we've experienced, things that we want to change, right? And so, you know, I know a lot of people talked about being a student with disabilities, especially in college, and how there were a lot of roadblocks being a student here or anywhere, to be honest, right? And so, but knowing your story, or really, really owning your story, understanding some of those struggles and telling that story can be a way that you can learn to advocate for yourself, right? And realize that just like Nick is helping us out with right now, you know, the fact that you want to be able to graduate with the rest of your friends, and now you're taking a stand to say, this is my story, and I know you're telling me that based on my story, I'm not supposed to be able to graduate with my friends, but I'm going to change that. I'm going to change that for myself, for everybody in this room, and for so many people that come after me, right? That's what self-advocacy is about. All right, beautiful. Thank you for that. We also talked a little bit about solidarity, right? Yeah. Solidarity. Yep. So when we tell our stories together, right, and we all have this common interest and we come together, that's how we're able to start a movement. That's how we're able to make things happen. So I know that I promised you that we weren't just going to talk about our struggles, right? It's very important that we recognize and we can identify some of the struggles that we have, and we know how to own those stories and tell our stories. But it's extremely important to also know how to find our power. Because like I said earlier, we're all powerful. It's just that we don't really learn about that power as often. We're not really taught about that power as often. And sometimes we're actually even taught to be afraid of our own power rather than walking into it.